Hey my friends, so you know that I'm not one to engage in small conversation when I travel. I'm very open about it. I'm not one for small talk. However, today was interesting. I came across this gentleman who works for human resources in corporate America. And so we got talking about my tattoos and started talking about Harley Davidson and living down in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. So parents, corporate America, young people, hey you young bloods, listen up. I asked him, as we were talking about his work in human resources and working for some of the corporations and the executives that he's working with. One notable company was Volvo. And he said that today's corporations and executives are really struggling to find quality employees. And so I'm listening. I wanted to hear more. And finally I said to him, after listening to this conversation, I said, sir, let me ask you something. Tomorrow I'm going to speak to 400 student leaders interested in studying business in college. I said, if you were speaking to this group tomorrow, give me an example of what you would want to say to them in serving your clients in corporate America. Here's what he said. He said, the first thing I tell them, wake up and show up on time. He said the second thing is to be teachable, to be hungry, to want to learn, to want to work. And he said, number three, he said, don't ghost your employers. And I was like, that's it? Really? Like, isn't that fundamental that we learn when we're young? So it kind of leads me to think that, and I'm pro-education, but is the value of education today worth the cost of education? He even went on to say that many of these corporations are starting their own school because they feel that they can train, teach, and give these young new employees what they need to be successful working for said company. This is something that parents, we need to be teaching our kids more of. Listen, if you work for a company, you've got to be paying your seat. You can't just show up and collect a paycheck and thinking that there's all this profit that can afford to pay you for just being present. No, if you can't pay your seat, you're not going to have a job. And in order to pay your seat, you've got to show up on time. You have to do the work. You have to be willing to learn. And you also have to understand that you don't just get hired and become an executive for the company you're working for like that. Whatever happened to overnight success takes 15 to 20 years. I don't know. I think this is a problem. And my friends, I'm pro-education, but being successful isn't about being able to take tests and do well. Being successful is about fundamental, showing up on time, wanting to learn, asking the questions, and doing the little things that other people aren't willing to do. Great conversation.